Hi, I'm Tony Midmore. I've had the pleasure of working with Rob at the International Guard in Reno. Becky worked for my wife, and Rob and Becky introduced my wife and I. So we've kind of made ourselves an extended family. I wish I could be there with all of you right now, but this will have to do. It's been said that one measure of a person could be how many people attend their funeral. I can only imagine how overflowing that room must be right now. I met Chuck and Elaine one night at Rob and Becky's house. I didn't know them. I'm not really sociable, so I wasn't really very chatty. But didn't last long, and pretty soon I ended up next to Chuck in the garage, and we started talking, and I came to find out he was a contractor. I've built and fixed a few things in my life, for better or for worse, and got to know him, found him interesting, started learning about him, current, past, fascinating person. Learned a lot. Even though he's quiet, even in that first conversation, I even got up the courage to ask him how he lost his finger. No, it wasn't some amazing construction accident from times past. It was very recent, involving a lawnmower. Now all of you know, talking with Chuck will always end up in talking with Elaine. You're not going to get around it, and you're going to find out. You're glad you did. She was such a lively, fun person. You couldn't be in the same room without talking to her. I don't recall how the conversation started, but I guarantee it was something like, "So Tony, how do you know Rob?" Or, "What do you do for a living?" Something involving, "Tell me about yourself." Her conversations never started off with, "Oh, I need to tell you about me. I need you to know something about me." It was always about, "How are you? Tell me about yourself." Or, "This person over here has an incredible story. You should hear about it." Always involved somebody else. Charles Dickens once wrote, "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another." I think that might relate to Elaine. At Rob and Becky's house, Elaine was the perfect example of a wonderful host, yet thoroughly appreciative of the fact it was Rob and Becky's house. One very simple way to have known how Chuck and Elaine were was that they lived at Rob and Becky's, and they were darn near their best friends. And where do you see that between parents and their children? Chuck and Rob would work on projects like the RV or the deck, and Elaine and Becky pretty much do everything together. Elaine was their biggest fan and loved being close to them and Robbie, and just loved sharing their lives. I think that time while they were at the house was probably the best time in Elaine's life. Just the closeness, and they were just wonderful together. It was great. At Sanga, the International Guard Base All Ranks Club, Elaine and Chuck had a vast group of friends. Again, when Elaine was in the room, everyone would eventually make their way over to get a hug, give her a hug, and then start answering all their questions about how they are doing and their well-being and what's going on currently in their lives. I have to assume it wasn't quite proper for them to frequent a bar, but the fact they lived on coffee there, lots of it, probably made it okay. Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to make it have some difference that you have lived and lived well." One thing that attracted me to Elaine was that she was so much like my own mom. Both were genuinely caring and always concerned about others. Both had health challenges, and yet they didn't give in to them, and they hardly showed the pain that they were experiencing. They spent far more time in listening to and showing their love than asking the support of others. In all, they both were amazing people, fantastic role models, and deserving of our continuing honor. I honor them by trying to remember and emulate them, as feeble as an attempt as I make at times. But I often ask myself, what would they do in this situation? Or what would they think of this? Now, Rob described me and my wife when he married us as being one name, Tony and Cheryl. The concept fully describes this wonderful couple too. I see them as one, Chuck and Elaine, and I really find it difficult to separate that word. Chuck, you're a strong and smart man with wonderful friends and family, and I'm sure you'll find a new path that will keep you busy and keep your mind occupied. Please keep our phone numbers close. If you ever want anything, are passing through Reno, or just want to hear a friendly voice, we're always proud to hear from you or have you stop by. My time with you has always been enjoyable, and I've always learned from you. Some thoughts about Elaine from people who write better than I do. Emily Dickinson. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. And Emerson. To laugh often and love much, to win the respect of intelligent persons and the affection of children, to learn the approbation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to give of oneself, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to have played and laughed with enthusiasm, and sung with exultation, to know even one life is breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. My final thoughts, written anonymously. God looked around his garden and found an empty place. He then looked down upon his earth and saw your loving face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. His garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. He knew that you were suffering. He knew that you were in pain. And he knew you would never get well on earth again. He saw your path was difficult. He closed your tired eyes. He whispered to you, "Peace be thine," and gave you wings to fly. When we saw you sleeping so calm and free of pain, we would not wish you back to earth to suffer once again. You've left us precious memories. Your love will be our guide. You live on through your children. You're always by our side. It broke our hearts to lose you, but you did not go alone, for part of us went with you on the day God called you home. A toast to Elaine.